Good morning to you, my dear. I am here to guide you on our lesson today about Introduction to Information and Communication Technologies. And there are two subtopics under it. That is the state of ICT technologies, online system, functions, and platforms. At the end of this lesson, I am expecting that you can identify the different devices that exist during the prehistoric age to electronic age. You can also compare and contrast the differences between traditional media and new media and their relationships. You can also improve your knowledge on how ICT affects your everyday life and the state of ICT in our nation. You can also compare and contrast the differences between online platforms, sites, and content. You can also understand the features of Web 2.0, understand the future of the World Wide Web through 3.0, and you can learn the different trends of ICT and use as your advantage. Okay, now let me ask you this. How important ICT to your daily activities? Yes, very good. ICT has become an integral part of everyday life for many people. It can enhance the quality of a person because it can be used as instructions of learning. It is also a valuable tool that can be used for the economic. ICT is any form of technology that enables you to communicate. In this timeline, we are going to discuss the evolutions of media generation to generation. This includes how many media is used during the prehistoric age, industrial age, information age, and electronic age. Now, let us start with prehistoric. Prehistoric is a period of human activity between the use of the first stone tool, 3.3 million years ago, and the interventions of writing systems, the earliest of which appeared 530 years ago. Technology that predates recorded history. History is the use of the past using written records. It is also the record itself. Anything prior to the first written account of the history is prehistoric, meaning before the history, including the earlier technologies. Okay, let me show you an example of prehistorical media forms. This is what we call a cave paintings. This is numerously paintings and engravings found in caves. Most cave arts consist of paintings with either red or black pigment. When we are talking about this pigment it is made with iron oxide, whereas manganese dioxide and charcoal were used for the blocks. This is what we call a clay tablet. A clay tablet is where a medium used for writing. And this is more or less surface made of a clay. They are using as a stylus symbol were pressed into the soft clay. This is what we call a papyrus. This is known and had been used in Egypt. It is used as the writing materials. Ancient Egyptians employed papyrus in the constructions of artifacts such as redwoods, mats, ropes, sandals, and baskets. This is an Acta Duarna in Rome during 130 BC. Acta Duarna is also called an Acta Populi. They also call it Acta Publica. Simply, it is an Acta Duarna. This is in ancient Rome, was a sort of a daily government gazette containing an officially authorized narrative of a noteworthy events at Rome. We also have Dibao in China, exists during 22nd century or 101 AD or Anno Domini. And we are talking about this Anno Domini. This is the year of our Lord. The Chinese Dibao is the earliest and oldest newspaper in the world. This was during the West Han time. We also have Codex in Mayan region. This was during 15th or 50th, I should say, century. When we are talking about 50th century, this was 401 AD, or at the period from 401 to 500 Anno Domini. Or this is the common era in the Julian calendar. This codex in Mayan is a folding books written by the pre-Columbian Maya. Printing press also exists during the prehistorical period. They are using a wood blocks. This was during 220 AD. Wood block printing or a block printing is a technique for printing text, images, or patterns. They are using this widely throughout East Asia and originating in China. The Industrial Age is a period of history that encompasses the changes in economic and social organizations that begin around 1760 in Great Britain and later in other countries, characterized chiefly by the replacement of the hand tools with power-driven machines such as the power loom, the steam engine, and by the concentrations of industry in the large establishments. And these are some examples. Okay, let me show you the pictures of the following forms of media during Industrial Age. Let me start with telegram. Before the age of the smartphones and laptops, people still use this technology to communicate through an electrical sounds or network. The telegram could transmit messages from one location to another over a long distances. Next one is a significant invention of the late period of Industrial Revolution was the telephone. This was invented by Alexander Graham Bell in 1876. Bell carried out numerous experiments, all centered around human speech and the use of technology to carry human sound long distances. This is another one.
typewriter. This typewriter were much more comfortable than writing in hand. This helped the Industrial Revolution by allowing the people to write manuals for the workers and mass produce for them much more. Nowadays, the evolved form of typewriter are computers which have many more functions than a typewriter. In the part of industrial age, it exists the printing press for mass production. This mass printing press enabling the mass productions of goods and the rapid disseminations of knowledge. So, it allowed thousands of copies of all types of written text and images to be printed quickly and cheaply, like the pamphlets, newspapers, handbills, and books could now be produced and distributed, spreading news, ideas, political and social campaign, propaganda, stories, poetry, and more. And of course, during the industrial age, motion pictures exist. These motion pictures became a successful entertainment industry in less than a decade, with a single viewer kinetoscope, giving way to film production for mass audiences. Thomas Edison invented this. He not only built the apparatus for filming and projection, but also he produced films for public consumption. For the electronic age, it is the invention of the transistor ushered in the electronic age for to harness the power of the transistor that lead to the transistor communications become more efficient. This is where the televisions, the computers, and radios exist. Let me show you pictures under electronic age. This is what we call a transistor radio. The first commercial transistor radio was released in 1954. Transistor radios are still commonly used as a car radios. This is an electronic television. It was first successfully invented in San Francisco. This was conceived in the early 20th century as possible medium for education. And not only that, this is also for their interpersonal communications. It became, by mid-century, a vibrant broadcast medium. They are using the model of broadcast radio to bring news and entertainment to the people all over the world. These mainframe computers exist during the electronic age, used primarily by the large organizations for critical applications. Bulk data processing, such as census, what else, industries, and consumer statistics, and even the enterprise resource planning. some other classes of computer, like mini computer, server, workstation, and personal computer. Next is the Apple Computer One, originally released by the Apple Computer. It is also known as Apple One. It is a desktop computer released by the Apple Computer Company. Now, it is Apple Incorporation. The Apple One is a computer consisted of a single motherboard with about 60 chips and fully pre-assembled. This is what we call a web version. But before we proceed on this, let me define to you what is a web page and what is the connection of this to web version. A web page is a document commonly written in a hypertext markup language that is accessible through the internet or other network using an internet browser. And when the World Wide Web was invented, most web pages were static. Static is also known as a flat page or a stationary page, in the sense that the page is as is and cannot be manipulated by the user. The content is also the same for all users. This is referred to as Web 1.0. Now, let us proceed to the next version of web page. This is what we call a Web 2.0. This refers to the rich web applications, web-oriented architecture, and social web. This refers to the changes in which the way web pages are designed and also by the users, without any change in any technical specifications. Ease of use, participatory culture, and these are some examples. Compatibility with other products, systems, and devices for the end users. To give you further explanations or examples, Web 2.0 allow users to interact with the page. Instead of just reading a page, the user may be able to comment or create a user account. Web 2.0 also allows users to use web browsers instead of just using their operating system. Browsers can now be able to use for their user interface, application softwares or web applications, and even for file storage. These are the features of Web 2.0. First one is taxonomy. It allows users to categorize, classify, or arrange information using freely chosen keywords. Examples is tagging. In other words, this is an online classification scheme in which users and their own keywords can categorize informations and they can find there or the result of process that is called tagging. It also involves applying descriptive keywords to the informations they come across. The popular social networking use that can tags is the Facebook. You can use # for tagging, or this is also called as hashtag. The next one is rich user experience. Means that applications are more pervasive, dynamic, and interactive. Long tail. This is the third one. The long tail is a services offered on a demand rather than on one-time purchase. In other words,
This long tail is a business strategy that allows companies to realize significant profits by selling low value or hard to find items to many customers, instead of selling large values as a reduced number of popular items. So, this is a synonymous in subscribing to a data plan that charges you for the amount of time you spend in the internet, or a data plan that charges you for the amount of bandwidth you use. The fourth one is user participations, wherein the owner of the website is not only one who is able to put content. In other words, you can able to place the content on your own by means of comments, reviews, and evaluations. So there is user involvement, users' engagements, or this is typically a form of users' contributed content, where users can add their own content to the applications through adding, uploading a content. The next features of Web 2.0 is a software as a service, wherein the users will subscribe to a software only when needed rather than purchasing them. When we are talking about the service of a software, this is a software licensing and delivery model in which software is licensed on a subscription basis and it is centrally hosted. Software as a service is typically accessed through a web browser with users logging into the system using a username and password, instead of its users having to install the software on their computer. The user is able to access the program via the internet. The next one is mass participations. It is a diverse information sharing through universal web access in which many people can participate. Now, let us proceed to the third version of a web page. This is what we call a Web 3.0. If 2.0 is a dynamic web, 3.0 is a semantic web, which means there is a movement led by the World Wide Web Consortium, or they call it W3C. This encourages the web developers to include semantic content in their web pages. In other words, 3.0 is a floating around the internet. Simply put, Web 3.0 in the new phase of the internet's evolutions. Web 3.0 is slated to be the new paradigm in web interactions and will mark a fundamental change in how developers create websites. 3.0 is a decentralized blockchain protocol. It enables individuals to connect into the internet where they can own and be properly compensated. According to the W3C, the semantic web provides a common frameworks that allows data to be shared and reused across applications. You can also enterprise and community boundaries. The aim of this 3.0 is to have a machines or a servers to understand the user preferences to be able to deliver web content, specifically targeting the user. Now, let us discuss the several problems of a Web 3.0. Because of the advancement of it, we can still encounter several problems. The first one is compatibility. If we are talking about compatibility, this is two or more things are able to exist or work together in a combinations without problems or conflict. But 3.0 has a conflict. Like for example, the HTML files in a current web browsers, they could not support Web 3.0. iOS and Android phone, they are not compatible with one another. Security. The user's security is also a question since the machine is saving his or her preferences. Once you log in a site, your informations, your username and password will stay there forever. The vastness. Vastness is also a problem in the World Wide Web. Clearly, it contains billions of web pages. The vacuness. Vacuness is a certain words are imprecise. The words old and small would depend on the users. So this is not clearly expressed. And the last one is logic. Logic is a machine can use a certain limitations for a computers to be able to predict what the user is referring to at a given time. Now, let us discuss also the trends in ICT. Trends in ICT, first one is convergence. There is a technological convergence, wherein this is the synergy of technological advancement to work on a similar goal or task. This comes from prefix con, meaning together, which means you can work together even you are not together. So, long distance communications, that is one example. You can work also even you are not in the office. Just like today, that is very useful now because of what we have as a problem for COVID-19. And ICT convergence is one of the useful technology that we can use today. Social media is the next trend. It is a website, applications, or online channel that enables the users to create, concrete, discuss, modify, and enhance or exchange users-generated content. Now, let us discuss the different types of social media. Yes, we have a lot of social media examples, and there are types of social media. First one is the social network. This is a site that allows you to connect with other people with the same interest or background. Can you give me an example of this? Yes, correct. Facebook. This is already the largest social networking site in the world and one of the most widely used. Instagram also, Twitter, Google, and many more. Bookmarking site is also a social media. This is a site that allows you to store and manage links to various websites and resources. To give you an example, these are Twitter, Pinterest, StumbleUpon, Riddle, Hackett, Dig, Reddit, or the /that. The third one is social news. These are sites that allows users to post their own news items or link to other news sources. The general news social websites is one of the examples of this. Reddit is a large site with a huge amount of daily users. Another one is media sharing. Media sharing allows sites where you can upload and share media content like image, music, and video. Can you give me an example of this? Yes, very good. That is YouTube. is one of the most familiar site where you can hear music or you can listen to music. And not only that, you can also download the music. Next one is microblogging. These are sites that focus on short updates from the users. Microblogging is example of this is Twitter. This is one of the best known channels in the microblogging world. Twitter is a quick and convenient way to share short posts, GIF, articles, links, videos, and more. Not only that, Pinterest also is a company listing products, articles, and other users or useful information for audiences. The microblogging sites can focus on short updates from the users. This one is very familiar nowadays. Blogs and forums also is another social network. This website allows users to post their own content, which means examples of this is the Bloggerist. This site offers a sub-forum topic that any of the registered members could start to participate in the discussion. The Digital Point. This is one of my favorites. Pro Bloggers. This site is authority in blogging that offers good forum network for the bloggers.
And now, we are on the last part of the trends of ICT. That is what we call a mobile technology. A mobile technology is a technology used for cellular communications. And these are the kinds of operating system of a mobile technology. We have iOS, Android, BlackBerry OS, Windows Phone OS, Symbian, Web OS, and a Windows Mobile. This mobile operating system serves as interface between the end user device and the application. End user is what we call the hardware, and the application is the software. To make it simple, this is the place where your phone's functions and applications live. Now, let me show you what is iOS. This is a mobile phone powered by iOS. iOS is formerly iPhone OS. It is a mobile operating system created and developed by the Apple Incorporation. And now, this is a phone powered by Android as operating system. Android is developed by Google. It has evolved over the years and quickly become the dominant mobile platforms across the globe. Android holds over 74% of the global mobile OS as of August 2020, according to the StatCounter. And this is a BlackBerry, a smartphone made by a Canadian company, formerly Research in Action. BlackBerry was one of the most prominent smartphone vendors in the world, specializing in securing communications and mobile productivity, and well known for the keyboard on most of its devices. However, BlackBerry lost its dominant position in the market due to the success of the Android and iOS platforms. This is a Windows phone. It is developed by Microsoft. One of the aim of having this kind of OS in a phone is to display like a PC interface. In short, they want that what you see on your PC is just like what you see on your cell phone. And this is a symbol. It was used by many major mobile phone brands like Samsung, Motorola, Sony Ericsson, and above all, by Nokia. And this is the operating system that will be the last thing that I will show you. This is also a web OS known as LG Web OS. It is a Linux kernel-based multitasking operating system by smart devices such as smart TVs that has also been used in a mobile operating system.
Now we are at the last part of our discussion, the last part of trends in ICT, that is assistive media. It is a non-profit service designed to help the people who have a visual and reading impairment. It is a database of audio recording used to read the user. This is the example of it. You can able to listen to the words as you read them on the page. There are many ebooks have audio files. Smartphones, tablet computers comes with text-to-speech. You can read aloud anything on your child's screen. Another one is a braille. This could aid the blinds to read. Now, do you have any question? Can you summarize the lesson? Yes, I hope so. Our lesson, we tackled about the evolutions of media. We compare before and now. We give examples of every period. We also discuss the online system that we have. We also compare them. We also enumerate all the characteristics, features, and problems encountered among the web versions. Now, we're done discussing.
If you have any question, you can call me, text, and chat me. We have our group chat per section. And of course, every Monday, you can ask at our Google